Today, I want to talk about a situation that happened with my wife at the time and her son and I. It was about the year 2000 and possibly 2001. Um, it's been a little while. This is 2025 now, almost 2026. Um, we, I had decided that I wanted to take my wife and her son on a camping trip in the northern part of the Lower Peninsula of Michigan. We were about 30 miles east of Gaylord, Michigan. And the mailing address at my uncle's farm, we stopped at my uncle's farm on the way to the woods because I wanted to let him know that we were going to be camping. And I didn't want, it's like I would check in with him, and then the next morning, if we didn't check back in, come and look for us. So anyway, my uncle's farm was in a little town that kind of doesn't exist anymore called Heatherton, Michigan, and but his mailing address was Johannesburg, Michigan. Now there's a road, I think it's Heatherton Road. If you take that road and you go 3 miles out of Johannesburg to the east, you'll hit my uncle's farm, which I believe was at Brown Road or Fagan Road. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so if you take that 3 miles to his farm, if you continue on Heatherton Road to the end, and there's another road called Meridian Line Road that comes up out of the town of Vienna Corners. And so you go on Heatherton to the Meridian Line, hang a left, and go out a couple of miles. There's a gravel pit, and that's how we used to get in. Well, they went in there and they put a bunch of gas wells in. And so they made roads so that they could truck all the equipment back in and the maintenance vehicles and everything. So you could drive a Cadillac up in there after they got done with that. Before that, you had to have a four-wheel drive vehicle, period. But as the place that we were going to camp, my uncle always called it the open field. Everybody that was associated with us hunting in that area called it the open field. And so you would drive about 2 miles down a little 2-lane trail that snaked down in the ravines, the valleys between the hills. And you'd go back about 2 miles and you'd come out. It was almost like a shot from the Batman show where the Batmobile would come out of the cave. Well, it was almost like that. You'd come out of the woods into this open field, and on the left-hand side there was a wide spot where we would always park before we went in to go hunting. And so we pulled up in there, and we went out, and we had 2 tents. One tent was going to be we had our food in there, and that was going to be our kitchen in the morning, a cook stove and everything. And then another tent that we slept in. We got our tents arranged, everything set up, and my wife, she got a little bit nervous, and she decided that she was going to go and sleep in the car. Now, the car is up about 150 feet away and sitting in the little parking lot on the edge of the woods. So she's in the car, locked in. It's pitch black. She's right on the edge of the forest, the woods. And so she worked up the courage, because I know she had to be. I know, if it was me up there, I'd have probably been laying on the floorboard with blankets over me. And that would be a terrifying situation to be in, even if you were locked in the car, because in my mind I'd be thinking, what's looking in the windows, what's getting ready to walk up. We had no idea. So anyway, after a little while she came down and got in the tent with us, and we had a little light. We were playing cards and games, talking, and finally we decided it was time to go to sleep. So I laid down, and she got on one side and her son got on the other side of me, and we were laying there, and you can hear the forest, the noise of the forest going on around you and everything. And her son, he was about 10 or 11 at the time, maybe 10. So he says, "Mom, can I get in between you guys?" And she says, "Heck no." They were both scared, and I wasn't smart enough to be right then. But anyway, we eventually fell asleep, and sometime during the night, I'm laying there. And now I've been hunting in these woods for years, and I have heard, many different sounds from animals in the woods. I never heard a bear. I never saw a bear up there. In the woods, anyway. I saw bears, along the roads and stuff like that, but I never saw one in the woods, so I had no idea what a bear sounds like. And so, anyway, in the middle of the night, I hear this sound, and it's very close to our camp. And it was a multi-layered sound, really unique. Nothing I had ever heard in my life, and I had never, no matter what the situation, heard an animal make this much noise, to be that loud. But it was pitch black, middle of the night. This thing sounded like a woman screaming, a man hollering, and a very low, I can't even describe it. It was I could feel it in my chest, like when you go to a concert, a big concert, and they have the big banks of subwoofers hanging down or whatever, the incredibly good sound system with hundreds of speakers. It was like that. I don't know how they didn't wake up. My wife didn't wake up. I had my kids ask her, did she remember ever hearing it? And she said, no, she never heard anything. I could feel the sound off of this thing, off of this holler. And I immediately got up and I grabbed a flashlight and I unzipped the tent and I got out and I'm standing around and I'm like this with this, I got this big Rodney King is what we call it, the big black flashlights that they beat Rodney King with. But anyways, I'm like this with this flashlight and I'm shining the woods in the direction that the sound came from. And I didn't see anything, nothing at all. Let me say that again, because I'm standing up here. So I'm scanning the woods with this flashlight, and I suddenly realized, you don't have a gun. I didn't take a gun to the woods with me. So now I'm thinking, whatever this thing is, if it decides to come up here and I got to fight it off, I got to fight it with this flashlight in the dark. And so, the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life, take my family into a situation where they were not protected. Anyway, I was watching a video in the last few weeks. I've been watching, of course, Finding Bigfoot comes on. And then, so I started watching that. And then there's a couple of other guys that are making videos, Survivor Man, and there was another guy that went way up into Canada, and I mean, I don't know, 70, 80 miles from any land or any towns or anything, and this guy goes out in the woods, and he's taking photos and shooting video of these things looking right at him. And, are they real? They sure look real. I don't know. What I'm saying is this, okay? I have never seen a Bigfoot other than what's represented on television and on YouTube and videos on the internet. I've never seen a Bigfoot. I don't know if I've ever heard of Bigfoot. But I tuned in to this one video, and I'm going to play it here in a second so you can hear it. And 25 years later, I'm watching this video. I'm laying in bed with my YouTube on watching this video. And this guy plays a recording of what he claims is a Bigfoot. Okay. And it is so exactly what I heard that it sent chills up my spine when I heard it. I couldn't believe it. It's like, oh my God, that's exactly the sound I heard. Now, I don't talk a lot about it because, people think you're crazy. But anyway, there was people that they don't have video of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, but they have audio recordings of what they say is Sasquatch in Michigan, which is 30, 40 miles maybe from my uncle's place there. It's south of Lewiston, I guess. But it didn't sound anything like what I was hearing. But I mean, there's a website that you can go to that has all of the sightings of Bigfoot in every state in the country. But you go to Michigan and there's it goes county by county. Now I live in Oakland County and there's no Bigfoot sightings in Oakland County, so I'm pretty happy to see that. But anyway, up there in the county that my uncle lived in, there was a sighting back in 1957, a sighting of Bigfoot. Not just hearing it. And, I don't know if people have not said anything because they didn't want to look crazy. But anyway, I'm going to play that sound in this video in a minute or two here. And I'll show you on Google Maps where this open field is. But anyway, I want you to hear that sound because it is so exactly what I heard up in those woods where I hunted for years and years and never saw anything. I'd like to go back up there now and camp out again, try it again, and see if, I don't know, put some trail cams up there maybe or something. Then if you come from Johannesburg, this is Heatherton Road. That runs to, this is my uncle's farm. If you stay on Heatherton to the end, this here becomes, let me zoom in on that, Uncle Donald's farm. Then you can see here, this is Meridian Line Road. So I'll come back out a little bit. Now up here, it doesn't look like much, but this is the open field. This is, like I was saying, Johannesburg to my uncle's farm, Vienna Corners. So if you come out of Vienna Corners and go north on Meridian Line Road, you get out, go through a couple curves, and the gravel pit will be on the right. We come over here, if you look over here, this is Meridian Line Road, you come in, and this is the gravel pit. You used to have to come up here and then go down, but now they've built these roads in. So these are the gas wells. You come up this little road and then hang a left, take it out, you'll come into the open field, and this would be where the Batmobile would come out of the cave. This is the little parking area. This is where we were camped at. And the scream came from this area right over here, which, maybe over here, but in this area. And it was incredible. Now, the following is a sound clip from the video that I saw that sounded exactly like what I heard when I woke up in the woods. Imagine waking up to this in the middle of the night. So anyway, that's my Bigfoot story. And after hearing that video on YouTube, after hearing that audio of the yell of that Bigfoot, I felt like I don't feel as bad coming out and talking about my Bigfoot experience. If you have a Bigfoot experience, uh, you know, leave it in the comments. Say something about it. But if you like this video, hit the like button. Please subscribe, and we'll talk to you later. All righty. Thanks. See you next time.